Devourer of Souls? Looking at the suddenly appearing man, Master of Ferocious Souls couldn't help but feel his heart race as he spoke, his voice cracking. The man wore a black robe, beneath which was a strong, muscular frame. His long black hair cascaded down, radiating an aura that seemed to devour everything in its path. Despite his seemingly ordinary body, it was as though an entire world resided within. Master of Ferocious Souls. Old rival, the man in black muttered. Black mist surged from his body, flowing into Xun'er and healing her injured meridians. Then, he locked eyes with Xiao and spoke softly. But the powerful beings behind them knew that beneath his calm tone, there was an overwhelming killing intent and immense power. The Devourer of Souls has also broken through into reincarnation-level strength. Two reincarnation experts, Xun'er and the Devourer of Souls, shared a relationship as close as father and daughter. Now, seeing Xun'er in such dire straits, she had even almost crushed the soul-devouring talisman to resist Master of Ferocious Souls. Crushing the soul-devouring talisman would temporarily grant Xun'er the power to fight against Master of Ferocious Souls, but it would eventually consume her completely. Even if the Devourer of Souls intervened, there would be no saving her. Looking at his beloved disciple, Xun'er and Xiao, both showing signs of weakness, the Devourer of Souls could no longer suppress the killing intent in his heart. Endless black energy poured out like a tidal wave, but this black mist was different from Master of Ferocious Souls' dark aura, which was as evil as blood-red flames. The black mist around the Devourer of Souls contained a barely perceptible devouring power. Teacher, senior sister, Xiao regained control of his body, as Shang quietly concealed himself inside Xiao to preserve his strength. With the appearance of the Devourer of Souls, there was no need for him to intervene. Although her constitution is special, she's not in any immediate danger. Leave the rest to me, the Devourer of Souls said, his soul-devouring talisman vibrating with a mix of wails and cheers, welcoming his return. But the Devourer of Souls' black eyes were fixed on Master of Ferocious Souls, resembling a wrathful dragon that demanded attention. Be careful, teacher. He's already successfully advanced into reincarnation and even devoured the Heartbreak flame, Xiao reminded, knowing that the Devourer of Souls' strength had drastically improved, though still wary. Reincarnation? The Devourer of Souls smiled coldly. You harmed my beloved disciple and destroyed my subordinates. Even with your reincarnation body, I'll obliterate you completely. Even if you're immortal, I'll make sure your soul is shattered. With that, the Devourer of Souls' soul-devouring talisman flickered, and his figure detached from Xiao and the others, soaring into the air. He locked his gaze on Master of Ferocious Souls, his voice dripping with arrogance. You also broke through into reincarnation? Seeing the faint aura emanating from the Devourer of Souls, Master of Ferocious Souls suddenly lost his voice. That was the fluctuation of reincarnation. In fact, Master of Ferocious Souls even felt that the reincarnation power within the Devourer of Souls was stronger than his own. Moments later, Master of Ferocious Souls' body trembled violently, an unusual expression spreading across his face. Yes, reincarnation, truly a wonderful realm, the Devourer of Souls said, his voice flat and his arm slowly crossing over his chest as he spoke with the demeanor of an ordinary person. Hmph! Even if you've broken through into reincarnation, today will be your downfall. Looking at the Devourer of Souls' demeanor, Master of Ferocious Souls spoke coldly, knowing that only beings at their level could sense the world-destroying power hidden beneath their frail appearances. Not a bad strategy, but you still miscalculated. Today, your fall will serve as a tribute to the losses you inflicted on our soul-devouring domain. Though it's not even 1/10,000th of what we've lost, the Devourer of Souls murmured. Then let's see if you have the ability to do that. If you fail, everyone behind you, including your soul-devouring domain, will be wiped out. Master of Ferocious Souls laughed maniacally, his killing intent shining brightly. No, you have no chance, the Devourer of Souls replied, his face still bearing a smile, as if he had control over this entire world. 10,000 souls bridge lock. With a cold snort, a sound reverberated through the heavens, echoing throughout the shattered sky. As his words fell, countless black and red gases erupted from his body, instantly transforming the sky into a blood-red cloud. Within this cloud, a crimson chain radiated an aura of endless evil and dread. The power it emitted caused everyone to tremble, and even their souls felt a sudden constriction. Everyone, step back. Seeing this, the devourer of souls waved his hand. Instantly, the soul-devouring talisman in front of him exploded into a black lock, sealing everyone behind it in a protective barrier. TSK. This power doesn't seem like something a mere reincarnation novice could wield. The devourer of souls really is something else. Xiao and the others, now safely protected, quickly retreated. Blood clouds rolled violently, each surge emitting a strong, pungent scent of blood, accompanied by heart-wrenching roars and screams that echoed from within. It was clear that the master of ferocious souls had not entered the cycle of reincarnation through normal means, but by using special methods. As a result, there was a fundamental gap between him and those who had truly ascended to reincarnation. At the same time, countless strange patterns appeared on the blood-red chains, exuding endless evil. Today is the day you and I enter the cycle of reincarnation. Let me use your life to fuel my path of reincarnation. Devourer of souls, prepare to die. As soon as the words left his mouth, the master of ferocious souls' blood-red pupils glowed with a sinister, eerie light. Standing atop the blood cloud, he gazed down upon all beings. He then raised his hand high, directing the evil chains within the blood cloud below toward the devourer of souls. The blood-red chains emitted an aura of overwhelming malice, as though a demonic curse had descended. The sight was horrifying, and the oppressive aura was enough to darken the skies and shake the earth. I'll stay until the end. Seeing such a terrifying move, the devourer of souls' smile instantly froze. The soul-devouring talisman around him stopped spinning, then began to tremble slowly before transforming into a streak of light and flowing deeply into his body. Immediately, the soul-devouring talisman reappeared on his forehead, as though it had been branded into his very soul. Soul-devouring talisman, 10,000 patterns. The devourer of souls had already entered reincarnation, and with the added power of the soul-devouring talisman, his strength was magnified to an unprecedented level. As the words fell, the devourer of souls took a single step forward, and the entire void fell silent. The blood cloud where the master of ferocious souls stood began to tremble violently, as if it would shatter at any moment. Around the devourer of souls, ancient runes appeared, glowing like divine symbols, manifesting an unimaginable power. Is this the battle between reincarnation powerhouses? Watching from behind, countless powerful figures felt their hearts tighten. The tremendous shockwaves released by the two made them fall silent, their minds overwhelmed by an immense pressure. Teacher, you must win. Xun'er, seated cross-legged and resting, spoke quietly, her voice filled with determination. At this moment, in the heart of the desert, the void collapsed completely, the space shaking violently as it shattered into countless fragments, falling toward the desert below. Clearly, the spatial level within the heart of the desert was insufficient to withstand the power of these two reincarnation powerhouses. In an instant, the winds and clouds shifted. Boom! The entire desert trembled as the powerful shockwaves created by the battle between the master of ferocious souls and the devourer of souls shattered the very space itself. Die! Seeing the blood-red chains, infused with an unstoppable evil aura, charging toward him, the devourer of souls stomped heavily on the void. Immediately, countless runes erupted from his body, roaring toward the incoming attack. These runes, though seemingly small, only the size of a thumb, were all derived from the soul-devouring talisman. The power contained within them was enough to shake the heavens. Crack! The seemingly indestructible blood-red chains were completely shattered by the seemingly insignificant black runes, which dissipated into the world like black light. It seems your so-called reincarnation is not complete. Watching as the black runes effortlessly destroyed the master of ferocious souls' attack, the devourer of souls smiled faintly, his words dripping with disdain. Devourer of souls, don't get too cocky. Hearing the mocking tone of the devourer of souls, the master of ferocious souls gritted his teeth and roared, the blood clouds beneath him swirling violently as though something terrifying was about to emerge. From the brief exchange, the master of ferocious souls knew that the devourer of souls was truly in the reincarnation realm. Although he had not reached the first level of reincarnation, the difference between their paths was vast. After all, the master of ferocious souls had forged his path to reincarnation through the sacred flame and the blood and mist of countless powerful figures, while the devourer of souls had stepped into reincarnation step by step. The gap between their methods was immense, and this disparity was becoming painfully clear in battle. It seems I'll have to use that thing. Otherwise, with the devourer of souls now in reincarnation and the amplification of the soul-devouring talisman, today may end in disaster for me, the master of ferocious souls thought, as a domineering and eerie aura spread from the blood clouds around him. Use whatever means you have left, the devourer of souls sneered, his soul-devouring talisman on his forehead, continuously releasing black runes, with a powerful force of devouring slowly emanating from him. Devourer of souls, you forced my hand. I didn't want to use this, the master of ferocious souls growled through clenched teeth, his voice filled with venom. Come forth. Without hesitation, the master of ferocious souls pulled out a beautifully crafted scroll from his sleeve. The scroll resembled a circular cylinder, its surface engraved with countless tiny patterns. When observed closely, these patterns seemed to form the faint image of a terrifying ghost, with ghostly energy swirling around it, exuding a murderous aura, as though guarding something within the scroll. This is, at that moment, the devourer of souls radiated a faint ghostly light, his vigilance rising. The soul-devouring talisman was one of the 12 wicked weapons of the ghost realm, ranked 11th. Its power was nearly on par with the divine weapons of the human realm. However, even with the combined strength of the devourer of souls and the current situation, when the mysterious scroll appeared in the hands of the master of ferocious souls, his heart could not help but tremble. Come forth, soul-extinguishing blade. Seeing the confusion on the face of the devourer of souls, the master of ferocious souls laughed maniacally. With his words, a phantom ghost thousands of feet tall was ripped from the scroll by the master of ferocious souls. It surged with an overwhelming, evil power, attempting to attack him. Crack! The master of ferocious souls reacted swiftly, grabbing the scroll. At once, a small, exquisite blade, about an inch in length, floated in front of him. As soon as the blade appeared, the terrifying ghost disappeared, and an intense sense of oppressive gravity filled the sky. This small knife was definitely no ordinary object. This is, below. How Xun'er's beautiful eyes widened, fixating on the black knife, and an overwhelming fear welled up inside her. Senior sister, what is this? Xiao Yin, too, felt the sinister aura emanating from the black knife, a power that could destroy anything. He immediately asked. The soul-extinguishing blade, one of the 12 wicked weapons of the ghost realm, ranked 7th, Xun'er replied, her voice cold. This blade was forged by a reincarnation powerhouse of the ghost realm and is said to be able to slay all undead and ghostly beings. Once it strikes, the victim's soul will be scattered to the wind. Even a reincarnation-level powerhouse would be no exception. With a raised eyebrow, Xun'er tightened her grip, her voice tense. The devourer of souls, with the enhancement of the soul-devouring talisman, was nearly immortal. However, even he would be gravely wounded or possibly even perish if struck by the soul-extinguishing blade. The soul-extinguishing blade, well hidden indeed. The devourer of souls smiled faintly as he gazed at the exquisite blade radiating immense power before him. Devourer of souls, it's over. From now on, the ghost realm will be my era. Everything you have, I'll inherit it. Ha ha ha. With a mad roar, his voice echoed throughout the heavens. The The soul-extinguishing blade is indeed formidable, far surpassing my soul-devouring talisman. But even with this, it's still not enough. The devourer of souls smiled as he looked at the seemingly victorious master of ferocious souls. Soul-devouring talisman, heaven-devouring divine domain. Without any unnecessary gestures, countless black incantations wrapped the entire void, and immediately, the devouring power spread across the desert. The devourer of souls domain, shaped by the soul-devouring talisman, had previously been one of consuming heaven and earth. Now, having entered the reincarnation stage, it had transformed into the heaven-devouring divine domain. Within the black domain, terrifying, world-devouring suction forces continuously emerged. Yet the power they wielded was drastically different from the one displayed by the soul-extinguishing blade. After unleashing such a terrifying attack, the devourer of souls did not stop. He knew that this might not be enough to defeat the master of ferocious souls, and something even more sinister and evil was slowly emerging within his body. Soul-extinguishing blade, slay ghosts and gods. Without hesitation, the master of ferocious souls gripped the black knife. A stream of blood surged onto the blade, which erupted in a brilliant black glow. With the blade in hand, he charged toward the devourer of souls with a roar. Master! Owner! Below, many loyal subordinates of the soul-devouring domain, who had been watching the battle, couldn't help but murmur, their voices filled with strong concern. The heaven-devouring divine domain was indeed powerful, but when compared to the soul-extinguishing blade, it still fell short by a small margin. In a battle between reincarnation-level powerhouses, even the slightest difference could determine the outcome. It seems that this battle is almost over. As the war in the sky escalated, Xiao Yan's internal self, Xiao Xinsheng, couldn't help but laugh. Only reincarnation-level powerhouses could sense that the soul-extinguishing blade possessed such terrifying power, enough to obliterate the devourer of souls. But within the still, tranquil body of the devourer of souls, a far greater, more ominous force, like an ancient dragon, was beginning to awaken. This power, in fact, was just as strong, if not stronger, than the force exuded by the soul-extinguishing blade. Suddenly, the entire shattered desert trembled again, as though it was on the verge of exploding, as the battle between the two reincarnation-level powerhouses neared its climax. As the two unleashed their full power, the entire desert's heart was engulfed by the devourer of souls' heaven-devouring divine domain. Countless black runes spread throughout the domain, making the devourer of souls' form appear as though it were that of an actual deity, immovable and untouchable. At the same time, a sword-shaped blade made entirely of black runes manifested around the devourer of souls. It emitted waves of earth-shattering, soul-devouring power as it quietly crouched beside him. Whoosh! On the other side, the master of ferocious souls transformed into a streak of light, holding the wicked weapon, the soul-extinguishing blade, in his hand. With a world-destroying posture, he lunged at the devourer of souls. As he passed, the black runes were completely erased, and even the spatial fabric of the heaven-devouring divine domain was forcibly severed. Go! The devourer of souls flicked his fingers, and a black sword blade formed from the essence of the soul-devouring talisman shot toward the master of ferocious souls, bursting with an ominous, sinister aura. Ha ha ha! Devourer of souls, the grudges between us over the years. Let's settle them now. Fall. With a furious roar, blood-red light surged around the master of ferocious souls and was fully channeled into the soul-extinguishing blade. The blade seemed to be drawn toward the power, and a dazzling, bloody aura erupted from it like a fountain, immediately transforming into 1,000 zhang-long blood-red blade beam, faintly carrying an earth-shattering, world-destroying power. Boom! As the two attacks collided, an explosive sound echoed throughout the entire sky, reverberating and expanding across the horizon. Whoosh! The black and blood-red energy, centered around the heaven-devouring divine domain, rippled outward like waves of destruction, shooting toward the desert's heart. Some of the hills in the desert were instantly obliterated by the force of the attack. Crack! The heaven-devouring divine domain shattered completely, and the sky returned to its original color, though now it seemed dark and scarred, showing signs of having been severely damaged. Finally, it's over. Quietly holding the supreme wicked weapon, the soul-extinguishing blade, the master of ferocious souls stood quietly in the clouds, watching the heaven-devouring divine domain collapse and the devourer of souls aura wane. He spoke softly to himself. After planning for so long and paying a heavy price, it was all worth it, because not only had he gained many sacred flames from Xiao body, but he had also acquired the soul-devouring domain and one of the wicked weapons, the soul-devouring talisman. This battle, with such abundant gains, made the master of ferocious souls laugh uncontrollably. Putting aside the many sacred flames within Xiao body, and with the soul-devouring talisman ranked 11th among the wicked weapons, the master of ferocious souls was undoubtedly the biggest winner here. From now on, he would take full control of the soul-devouring domain. With the two largest regions of the ghost realm under his control, given time, even the mighty center of the ghost realm would eventually bow to him. The thought of this sent a wave of excitement through the master of ferocious souls. Ding ding! Just as the master of ferocious souls secretly rejoiced, a magic sound that seemed to pierce the heavens and earth slowly spread. Rumble. The shock from the magic sound caused the master of ferocious souls' body to stiffen, and even his soul seemed to fall into a brief moment of chaos. Master of ferocious souls, claiming victory now would be premature. Just as the voice echoed, the destructive ripples dissipated, revealing a powerful figure standing at the top of the sky, holding a blood-red bell. Devourer of souls? You're not dead? Impossible. Seeing the devourer of souls standing unscathed in the clouds, shock surged in the master of ferocious souls' eyes. The soul-extinguishing blade was incredibly powerful, and to be safe, the master of ferocious souls had even used his own blood essence to forge the blade. Yet, such a devastating blow hadn't killed the devourer of souls. He was completely unharmed. This made the master of ferocious souls cautious. He focused on the devourer of souls and saw a small red bell appear in the latter's hand, surrounded by a red protective shield that enveloped him like a celestial canopy. Even the strongest blow from the soul-extinguishing blade had only caused the shield to dent, without doing any damage. That is, after a moment of surprise, the master of ferocious souls' attention was drawn to the blood-red shackles surrounding the devourer of souls. The shackles radiated an immensely powerful and eerie energy. Under this power, even the soul-extinguishing blade seemed to be at a disadvantage. This energy clearly emanated from the red bell. Another wicked weapon? How is that possible? The evil weapons of the ghost realm, a total of 12 in number, each embodies an immeasurable and godly power beyond comprehension. The soul-devouring talisman, although ranked only 11th, is still on par with the top 9 evil weapons when wielded by the devourer of souls. Even so, compared to his own soul-extinguishing blade, ranked 7th, there remains a significant gap. Thus, the master of ferocious souls felt certain of his victory this time. However, the small red bell in the devourer of souls' hand was also an evil weapon. Judging by the red shield and chains that resisted his soul-extinguishing blade, its power was no less than the 7th-ranked blade. With the soul-devouring talisman ranked 11th and the blood river bell ranked 9th, the combined power of these two evil weapons made even the master of ferocious souls' soul-extinguishing blade, ranked 7th, feel a sense of dread. This is the blood river bell? With a casual wave, the devourer of souls dismissed the red shield and chains surrounding him, then coldly gazed at the master of ferocious souls. The blood river bell, ranked 9th? How is this possible? At this moment, the master of ferocious souls could no longer conceal his shock. He knew that, as a reincarnation powerhouse himself, if the devourer of souls used the power of two evil weapons at once, even with the soul-extinguishing blade as his weapon, the only way to defeat him would be to reach the first reincarnation stage. Otherwise, his fate would be certain death. It's over. You've committed countless evils. Today, let your demise end this feud. After a brief pause, The Devourer of Souls' hands glowed with red and black light as the Blood River Bell and soul-devouring talisman emerged. They lay quietly at his feet, exuding a terrifying power that could cause everything in their path to wither. Don't think that possessing two evil weapons will allow you to erase me. 10,000 Souls Technique. Heaven's Blood Soul. At this moment, a trace of fear finally swept over the Master of Ferocious Souls. If the Devourer of Souls truly wielded the power of both evil weapons, his only outcome would be annihilation. Boom! Just as the words left his mouth, the Master of Ferocious Souls suddenly burst into a wild laugh. The soul-extinguishing blade in his hand flared with a dazzling blood-red light, its sharp edge powerful enough to slice through anything in the world. But without hesitation, he slashed the blade toward his own wrist. The wound bled profusely, and the crimson blood was immediately absorbed by the blade. Swish! Swish! As the soul-extinguishing blade absorbed such a massive amount of blood energy, an ethereal, demonic shadow suddenly emerged from its blade, hovering above the Master of Ferocious Souls. Holding the blade, the figure radiated an aura of endless bloodlust, resembling a true god or demon descending, chilling to the bone. Die! Watching the Master of Ferocious Souls' actions, the Devourer of Souls pressed his palms together, and the Blood River Bell rang out with a clear, crisp sound. Combined with the black runes of the soul-devouring talisman, the entire sky was soon covered by countless ghostly creatures and soul beings. In that moment, tens of thousands of eerie specters and soul spirits knelt beneath the Devourer of Souls' feet, their bodies engraved with the black runes of the soul-devouring talisman. Under the tolling of the Blood River Bell, their eyes burned with murderous intent. They humbled themselves before the Devourer of Souls, as if he were their most revered king. In that instant, the divine power was overwhelming, and the Devourer of Souls stood as the supreme ruler of this world. The Master of Ferocious Souls, on the other hand, seemed like little more than a side character, someone who had committed unforgivable crimes and was now being judged by the Devourer of Souls. Blade of Ghosts and Gods, soul-extinguishing blade. Seeing the terrifying formation the Devourer of Souls had created, the Master of Ferocious Souls could clearly feel the energy of the world rapidly draining away, and a powerful rejection force aimed directly at him. He roared in defiance. As he spoke, the ghostly figure above his head slowly appeared, its blood-red eyes glaring as it raised the soul-extinguishing blade, covered in bloodlight, and gently swung it toward the Devourer of Souls. At that moment, the Master of Ferocious Souls' face twisted with rage, his eyes filled with bloodlust. Fresh blood continued to pour from his wrist into the ghostly figure, even though it threatened to damage him severely. If he couldn't resist the Devourer of Souls' blow, his grand plan of 1,000 years would be ruined, and his life would be forfeit. Having absorbed such a vast amount of original blood, the ghostly figure's hand grew massive, swelling to over 1,000 feet in mere moments. It shook, and the figure detached from the Master of Ferocious Souls, its soul-extinguishing blade shooting through the sky toward the Devourer of Souls. Such a sharp and terrifying attack would likely force even a reincarnation-level powerhouse to avoid it. Looking at the massive ghostly figure and the 1,000-foot-long soul-extinguishing blade radiating bloodlight, the Devourer of Souls smiled casually. His voice, filled with the power of a ruler, rang out, piercing the entire sky. I wield the power of the Blood River Bell and soul-devouring talisman. Together, we shall slay the evil demons. The voice, akin to the sound of sacred chanting, spread across every inch of the desert's vast expanse, stirring up countless terrifying forces. Who? As the Devourer of Souls spoke, the countless wraiths and shattered souls that had been lying still at his feet suddenly erupted with crimson light in their eyes. Black runes swirled and writhed around their phantom bodies, and their forms trembled as they shot toward the ghostly figure of a god. The sea of blackened spirits was the result of the Blood River Bell's power. The Blood River Bell collected the spirits of countless malevolent and eerie wraiths, retaining them in a special way, and using them to form its most potent attacks. Coupled with the black runes of the soul-devouring talisman, It possessed the terrifying power to devour everything. This immense army from the Ghost Realm was enough to tear apart any force and even obliterate reincarnation-level powerhouses. Rumble, rumble. In an instant, the sky was filled with turbulent winds and clouds that scattered in every direction, as if they feared the apocalyptic destruction that could spread from the clash of these two forces. Clang, clang, clang. Whoosh, whoosh. The blood river bell in the Devourer of Souls' hand rang out with a sharp, clear sound. Each time it chimed, the power of the entire ghost army surged even further, while the black runes from the soul-devouring talisman vibrated, channeling into the army of wraiths. Boom! A dreadful storm of collisions silently arrived. A maddening scent of blood filled the air, as the sky was engulfed by it, while below, the protective barriers and the yellow sands of the desert vanished in an instant. A heavy sense of oppression filled everyone's hearts. The devastation of the heavens and earth was complete. The once precious land of the desert collapsed entirely. The sky shattered like a broken mirror, falling into countless pieces. The desert below turned into vast, bottomless chasms, clearly visible to all. The two reincarnation-level powerhouses had caused this entire space to collapse. After several minutes, as the explosive shockwaves in the sky slowly dissipated, countless wraiths returned to the Devourer of Souls. Though they were badly injured, as long as they returned to the Blood River Bell, they would soon regain their peak strength. Meanwhile, high in the sky, a figure drenched in blood and exuding a faint aura of decay staggered to his feet, looking with resentment at the Devourer of Souls. His gaze was filled with such hatred that it seemed he wished to swallow the Devourer of Souls whole. "You've lost," the Devourer of Souls said quietly. "Ha ha ha. Devourer of Souls, although you have won today, you cannot kill me. Once I recover my strength, I will repay this humiliation tenfold." Looking at the calm expression of the Devourer of Souls, the Master of Ferocious Souls could not help but break into a wild laugh. "Master, we cannot let him go. Master, this is the mastermind behind the countless deaths in our soul-devouring domain. We cannot let him escape." As victory seemed imminent, several anxious voices echoed. "It feels like some familiar fluctuation." Xiao Yin did not speak, but instead focused on the ever-changing void, sensing a familiar aura slowly descending. "Are you so confident? Do you think I won't dare to destroy you?" The Devourer of Souls did not respond to the Master of Ferocious Souls' laugh. Instead, he stepped through the void, striding towards the blood cloud that the Master of Ferocious Souls had summoned. The Blood River Bell and the soul-devouring domain swirled in his palm, amplifying the Devourer of Souls' power to its peak. In contrast, the Master of Ferocious Souls seemed as though he were a dying man, his aura withered and his body dripping with blood, clearly lacking the strength to fight. "We are appointed by the great ones of the Ghost Realm's heart. If you kill me, I fear," the Master of Ferocious Souls, relying on his last strength, grinned. The center of the Ghost Realm, the domain of the supreme beings of the Ghost Realm, and even the great thousand worlds, huh? But what of it? You, a dying man, are even worthy of mentioning such a place? Die. The center of the Ghost Realm is nothing in my eyes. Hearing the Master of Ferocious Souls threaten him with death looming so close, the Devourer of Souls raised both hands. Two wicked weapons unleashed a death beam, aiming directly at the Master of Ferocious Souls. Seeing this, it was clear that the final blow was about to land, attempting to completely annihilate the Master of Ferocious Souls. No. The Master of Ferocious Souls tried to struggle, wobbling on his injured body, attempting to avoid the Devourer of Souls' fatal strike. But soon, he realized it was futile. His eyes turned bloodshot, filled with unwillingness as he glared at the Devourer of Souls. Whoosh! Whoosh! The death beams fired from the two wicked weapons trembled slightly before exploding toward the Master of Ferocious Souls. "Sorry, you can't kill him." Just as the Master of Ferocious Souls had already given up struggling, his eyes closed in quiet resignation, waiting for death, a lone, graceful figure draped in a black cloak, hiding her face, slowly stepped out from the crumbling void. With a delicate movement of her slender hand, she grasped the beam of deadly light that was capable of annihilating everything. To her surprise, the deathly light quietly dissipated without even causing the slightest ripple of force. "Fair, I have failed you." At this moment, the master of ferocious souls couldn't bring himself to open his eyes. He merely spoke helplessly, knowing full well who had intervened. From the beginning, he had been using Duan Qifei, exploiting her reincarnation power, even drawing on the Thunder Lord's strength to seal the entire ferocious soul domain, preventing the outside world from sensing the events taking place here. Additionally, because of the fear surrounding her relationship with Xiao, he had deliberately designed the Thunder Mountain trap to imprison Duan Qifei, all for his own path of reincarnation, for the sacred flame within Xiao, driven purely by his selfish desires. He had wronged Duan Qifei. He wasn't worthy of being the master of this domain, nor was he worthy of being Duan Qifei's uncle. To think it's also reincarnation power. The Devourer of Souls, having recently drawn on the powers of the two wicked weapons, felt his own Do Qi nearly exhausted. When a reincarnation-level powerhouse appeared now, he could only slowly shake his head. If this reincarnation powerhouse was determined to protect the Master of Ferocious Souls, then the Master of Ferocious Souls might not fall today. After all, many of the Devourer of Souls subordinates were present, and if things escalated into a deadly confrontation, it wouldn't be good for either the Ferocious Soul domain or the Devourer of Souls domain. At this moment, the situation, which had seemed set in stone, began to shift, though the ultimate outcome remained uncertain. What's going on? In the heart of the collapsing desert, pieces of debris continued to fall, as if it might explode at any moment. Meanwhile, three powerful figures stood in the clouds, their auras unmistakably that of reincarnation. That is, below, Xiaoyan's heart trembled when the black-cloaked figure appeared. The aura emanating from this person stirred something familiar within him. After a moment, Xiaoyan couldn't contain his emotions any longer. His body trembled as he shot towards the sky, eager to confirm his suspicions. "Little junior brother, what are you doing?" Xun'er was immediately startled, preparing to stop Xiaoyan, but was held back by Xun'er and the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf. "Let him go. That person likely has some connection to him." The Black Fiend Dragon Wolf shook his head helplessly. He had sensed this figure's aura back when they passed through the red reincarnation zone in the Temple of the Gods, but this person hadn't attacked Xiaoyan. In fact, they had even cleared away the threat from the two Thunder Mountains, leading the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf to believe there was some kind of relationship between them. "Honored guest, this is a matter between the Devourer of Souls domain and the Ferocious Soul domain." After a brief standoff in the sky, the Devourer of Souls withdrew some of the wicked weapon's energy and spoke in a calm tone. "I know this is a matter between your two domains. I didn't want to interfere, but this person is someone I can't simply disregard. I don't want him to die." The black-cloaked figure spoke with a slight apologetic tone. "Impossible. This person has committed countless atrocities. If we don't wipe him out today, he will become a murderous demon in the future. After all, using the lives of his subordinates to pave his own path of reincarnation, for this alone, his sins are unforgivable." The Devourer of Souls snorted coldly. "As long as I'm here, he won't die. Of course, he will pay for his crimes, but death is too great a punishment. On the other hand, if you desire compensation, feel free to speak. As long as he doesn't die." The black-cloaked figure's tone softened as she noticed a small figure approaching from the abyss below, her heart racing with anticipation. Their reunion would come in this way, truly a twist of fate. "You." The Devourer of Souls was furious, nearly losing his temper. If not for the mysterious reincarnation powerhouse and his concern for his subordinates, he would have already clashed with her. "Master." Just as the Devourer of Souls was at a loss, Xiaoyan's figure appeared beside him. "What are you doing here? Get down." Seeing Xiaoyan arrive, the Devourer of Souls couldn't help but shout. A reincarnation-level powerhouse was not something he could handle. "Master, the war of the two domains is over. Take care of these matters. The rest, leave it to me." Xiao said with a calm smile. But the devourer of souls in the end, he had no choice but to trust Xiao. After all, he was now in a state where the lamp was out and the oil was exhausted. Forcing himself to hold on would be pointless. If anything happens to him, I will destroy the entire ferocious soul domain without hesitation. With a fierce remark, the devourer of souls dismissed the countless ghosts surrounding him, and his body descended, heading towards the troops below. For a moment, in the sky, only the devourer of souls, standing like a dying man on top of a blood cloud, the slender figure in black, and Xiao remained. Who? Xiao gaze grew deep as he cast a resentful glance at the disheveled devourer of souls behind him, before his eyes settled on the figure in black. Qifei. A soft utterance, yet filled with profound meaning, swept out. Snap. In an instant, the figure in black trembled, her body shrinking sharply. Xiao, it's been a long time. After a moment, her delicate jade-like hand pulled off the black garment, revealing her true appearance. Her light and ethereal voice slowly rang out. Duan Qifei. At this moment, she had changed greatly from the past. Her clear, bright pupils, arched willow-shaped eyebrows, and long lashes fluttering gently. Her flawless skin was as smooth as a baby's, and her silver hair cascaded like a waterfall. Even more striking, streaks of gray lightning slowly flowed through her silver hair, enhancing her ethereal beauty, making her seem like a celestial fairy lost in the mortal realm. Are you all right? Looking at the celestial beauty before him, Xiao was left speechless for a long time before finally managing to speak. I am still me. As though sensing Xiao concerns, Duan Qifei smiled faintly and spoke. You. Hearing Duan Qifei's words, Xiao body shook. But he is my uncle. My mother passed away when I was young, and my father raised me. Even though he treated me terribly, the bloodline connection, do you understand? Moreover, this was my mother's last wish before she passed. Duan Qifei's beautiful eyes flickered slightly as she turned her head, seemingly unwilling to let Xiao notice the tears and sorrow in her eyes. Cough, cough. Fair. Thank you. When I recover, the ferocious soul domain will be handed over to you. By then, you and I will join forces. What is the mere soul-devouring domain? Russell. Hearing Duan Qifei's words, the devourer of souls laughed. As long as he didn't die today, he would have the chance to make a comeback in the future. 2 conditions. As if having made up his mind, Xiao slowly extended 2 fingers and spoke to the turned-back Duan Qifei. Upon hearing Xiao words, Duan Qifei felt a sense of relief. She had been most afraid that Xiao, lacking flexibility, would insist on exterminating the devourer of souls. If that happened, she feared she and Xiao would be completely at odds. Even though Duan Qifei knew that she and Xiao could never be together, if they remained friends, they could still maintain a good relationship. But if they severed ties completely, she might regret it for the rest of her life. First, I need the Heartbreak flame, Xiao said calmly, clearly considering Duan Qifei's feelings when making this concession. Ha ha ha. You're dreaming. The Heartbreak flame has already been completely devoured by me. If you want this sacred flame, go dream on. Ha ha ha. No. Upon hearing Xiao seemingly impossible condition, the devourer of souls grinned menacingly, but before his laughter could fade, a giant energy hand, wrapped in countless gray lightning streaks, easily pierced through his chest. The pink flames and the pink sacred flame crystal were directly stripped from his body by the lightning-encased hand. The Heartbreak flame had already been devoured by him, but now being taken away by Duan Qifei, the devourer of souls' eyes turned bloodshot with pain. In fact, due to the loss of the sacred flame, his power had dropped from the reincarnation realm to half of it, his origin was damaged, and he would likely never again be able to ascend to the reincarnation realm. Second, devourer of souls, you will never again control the ferocious soul domain. Xiao slowly shook his head. This was already the greatest concession he could make. I agree. Someone, take the devourer of souls to the forest of wraiths. He shall never step out again. As Duan Qifei's voice fell, the void wriggled once more, and incredibly powerful auras surged out. These figures were all familiar to the Devourer of Souls, as they were high-ranking members of the ferocious soul domain. The leaders of the 4 divine temples and powerful figures who controlled great military forces. Seeing their humble attitude, they had actually betrayed him and pledged allegiance to Duan Qifei. No wonder the other 3 temples weren't affected when the 5-point blood soul formation was activated. It turned out, they had already defected, and the so-called Forest of Wraiths was a desolate place, a prison area in the ferocious soul domain for confining criminals. Master. The forces under the Master of Ferocious Souls have all submitted. Those who resisted have been thoroughly slain. The rule over the ferocious soul domain is within reach. However, the ferocious soul domain has suffered severe loss of vital energy, and the experts from the soul-devouring domain continue their attacks. What do you think? At that moment, Elder Bo, the Lord of the North Temple, spoke first. Now that the ferocious soul domain is fully under my control, I will have complete mastery over it. From now on, the ferocious soul domain will no longer make any advances into the soul-devouring domain. As for the remaining compensation, let your people handle it. I will withdraw the guardians from the Earth Spirit Hall and give you 1 year to recover, allowing your return to the soul-devouring domain safely. I'm tired. Let's go. After saying this, Duan Qifei did not wait for Xiao and the high-ranking members of the soul-devouring domain. She shook the air with emotion and disappeared. Bai Zhe, give the order to withdraw the army, return to the Earth Spirit Hall, rest for a few months, and then set off for the soul-devouring domain. In as for the remaining compensation matters, you should discuss them with her. Let's go. Let the war of the 2 domains end here. The Devourer of Souls shook his head slightly. Qifei, thank you. Holding the lovesickness flame and sacred flame crystal in his hands, Xiao slowly bowed towards the empty space where Duan Qifei had vanished, before completely disappearing himself. As everyone vanished, the desert's heart could no longer hold up, exploding with a resounding bang. This final explosion marked the true end of the war of the 2 domains. Apart from a few minor matters, the journey to the Ghost Realm had come to a perfect conclusion. Months had passed since the war of the 2 domains. One day, in the Earth Spirit Hall, one of the 5 great halls of the ferocious soul domain, in a courtyard, everything is calm and peaceful. In the courtyard, Xiao stood quietly in a pavilion, sipping tea alone. Since the end of the war of the 2 domains, this place had become a recovery ground for many experts of the soul-devouring domain. With the help of the recent war, Xiao strength had smoothly broken through to the late stage of 5-star Do Xian. With the lovesickness flame in hand, stepping into the 6-star Do Xian was just a matter of time. However, the lovesickness flame was meant to revive Mu Yingying, so Xiao had refrained from consuming it, preserving it intact. Little fellow. Not long after, a man walked over slowly. Senior Dragon Wolf. Xiao rose and greeted him with a smile. I must leave. The matter of the light demon requires my immediate attention. The Black Fiend Dragon Wolf spoke with a serious tone. I had originally come to take you back to the monster realm to break your master's seal, but the light demon situation is urgent. This is a monster core. Once you've dealt with your business, crush it. I will personally break through the void to fetch you. Knowing that Xiao still had many pressing matters, the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf did not push him. Since he had some free time, he decided to put off the matter of breaking the seal for now. Understood. Xiao gently took the dark green monster core and carefully kept it. Until we meet again. Watching Xiao actions, the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf transformed into a streak of starlight, disappearing into the distance, likely to investigate the light demon. Crack. With the departure of the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf, the air above the pavilion cracked, and a handsome man emerged. We should leave now. You. The Devourer of Souls looked at Xiao and spoke warmly. If it weren't for Xiao the soul-devouring domain would likely have faced a perilous end. Teacher, this time, I won't return with you. I plan to head back to the Dodi continent. Xiao spoke in a deep voice. With the Ghost Realm journey now complete and his strength having grown significantly, It was time to attend to matters in the Dodi continent and with Xun'er. A true man's ambition lies beyond the horizon. But remember, if you ever need anything, all the power of the soul-devouring domain will be at your disposal. And no matter when, we'll always welcome you home. The devourer of souls' gentle voice resonated deeply within Xiao Yan's heart. Thank you, teacher. Xiao Yan's nose tingled with emotion as he muttered. This is the 7 resurrection soul lamp. I no longer have need of it, but I hope it can help you. No need for farewells. We're leaving. The devourer of souls left the mysterious artifact behind, then waved his hand, disappearing instantly. Whoosh! At that moment, a massive ship surged, signaling the return of many powerful figures from the soul-devouring domain, heading back to their homeland. Now that the devourer of souls had entered the cycle of reincarnation and returned to the soul-devouring domain, the domain would truly replace the ferocious soul domain as the strongest force in the ghost realm. However, this would also draw the attention of the supreme beings in the heart of the ghost realm, and whether this was a blessing or a curse remained to be seen. Teacher, when I meet this little junior again, I'm afraid he will have grown to an unimaginable level. Standing on the deck of the ship, Xun'er spoke softly. I think so too. Xun'er, once we return, you should also settle that matter. The pressure from the Docian has weighed heavily on your heart, and as your teacher, I feel guilty about it, the devourer of souls said. Thank you, teacher. Xun'er replied with a gentle smile, feeling at ease. As soon as her words fell, everyone vanished from the scene. With the departure of the Black Fiend Dragon Wolf and the Devourer of Souls group, the Earth Spirit Hall became eerily empty. Only Xiao Yan remained, along with the vast force he had painstakingly built, the 10,000 Fires sect. In the core of the ferocious soul domain, within the sacred hall. Princess, the ferocious soul domain is now entirely under our control. The master of ferocious souls has been cast into the forest of wraiths. With your reincarnation seal on him, he will never be able to step out of the forest of wraiths again, Elder Bo respectfully reported. What about the people from the soul-devouring domain? Duan Qifei asked quietly from her seat. They've all left in the past few days. Only Xiao Yan remains, Elder Bo replied. Send someone to tell Xiao Yan to leave with his 10,000 Fires sect. This war is finally over, and we need to rest and recuperate, preparing for the coming threat of the extraterritorial evil clan. After a moment, Duan Qifei waved her hand. Princess, the 10,000 Fires sect is no small power. If we let them go like this, aren't we giving Xiao Yan an advantage? Hearing Duan Qifei's words, Elder Bo and the others couldn't help but feel a pang of regret. Do you really think I fear a mere devourer of souls just because of Xiao Yan? Duan Qifei replied coldly. Behind him, there are still many powerful figures supporting him. This matter is not up for debate. As her voice fell, the room fell into silence once more. Fine, let's focus on resurrecting Yingying first. In the evening, Xiao Yan finally rose from the pavilion, a thought forming in his mind. That's a good idea, and I have the spatial coordinates of her birthplace, Xiao Xinshang, hidden within Xiao Yan's body, responded. Is that true, senior? Xiao Yan's eyes gleamed with excitement upon hearing this. With the Heartbreak flame in hand, her revival was just around the corner. But the most difficult part was finding the spatial coordinates of her birthplace. Who would have thought that Xiao Xinsheng knew the location? It was as if fate was on his side. Originally, they were part of our Xiao clan, but, alas, focus on resolving things here first, and soon I can take you directly to her birthplace, Xiao Xinsheng continued. However, once this is over, I will have to leave because the other 9 of the 10 kings of Yama are still in slumber, and staying with you carelessly will only bring danger to you. All right, Xiao Yan agreed, then turned towards the 10,000 Fires sect. Lord Xiao Yan is truly a hero. Upon arriving at the 10,000 Fires sect, Xiao Yan was surprised to find the place had been completely renovated. Elder Hui Yun and the other high-ranking members were gathered in the hall, laughing. Everyone, I've come to take the 10,000 Fires sect and move it to the Dodi continent, Xiao Yan said without beating around the bush. Ha ha ha. Lord, we've been waiting for this very moment. The entire 10,000 Fires sect is willing to follow you, through fire and water, without hesitation. The high-ranking members said excitedly, Lord, we are ready. We can depart at any time. With the spatial passage provided by the head of the Spirit Academy, the journey to the Do-D continent will be quite short, sect leader Hua-Yi smiled. No rush. Give me a few days. I still have some matters to attend to, Xiao replied, feeling relieved. Since the ghost realm had been completely resolved, there was no need to linger here.